can't remember if this idea for the podcast company came first or if the name did. Either way, they were very close in inception, and for the past 2.5 years, From Your Pocket has been our name. But I never really developed it into a brand. But someone else could. This is Session in Progress. When From Your Pocket launched, and I use that term loosely as there was no media release, party, email send out, I think it was just an Instagram post off my personal account in collaboration with a new and very confused business page. I got straight to work, and I never really spent time identifying what it was to be a brand or what it was as a brand past its name and its logo, which I should say I made off Canva off a sketch from a notepad. If you were to ask me in 2022 and 2023 what a brand was, I would have said something exclusively for large corps that have massive marketing budgets and large staff. It matters to the Coca-Colas of the world, not your corner store and Melbourne-based podcast companies. And I was wrong. I was neglecting a massive part of starting a business. Having a consistent brand identity that was easy to understand, made perfect sense for the service, and was harmonious across its language, aesthetic, and messaging. So what is From Your Pocket? Up until this episode and catching up with the masters of Brand Studio White Noise, I didn't even realize, I didn't know. These are the three founders, Ross Carabellis, Lauren Messina, and Andreas Pronotto, who agreed to take me through the company as a whole and earmark the many, many mistakes I was making. This was recorded on January 17th, 2024. And wait to the end, where a throwaway comment will change the course of everything, including this podcast. We pick up the conversation with Ross explaining in very short what a brand is.
Brand is less about what pretty colors are we choosing and what font do we direct and all the rest. It's more about understanding what is your brand, what is the company it represents, or what's the product, and getting a better understanding of what it is so we can create tools, colors, messaging that actually delivers that message. So if you are a product that sells rings and you want to be seen as the best ring makers in the world, we go away and focus on that. How do we make the brand portray that message? We are the best ring makers in the world.
And also, it needs to fit to the person. Like, it might be the best brand, but if it doesn't fit with the person, if I make something like, I don't know, with flamingo for you and you don't like flamingo, that would be weird in a way.
Yeah. Or if you hate the color red,
yeah,
and we introduce red because it makes sense, it's not really yours anymore, and you're not going to get behind it. You're not going to be kind of encouraged by it. So it's actually a very delicate balancing act. You have to appeal to a market. You have to appeal to trends. You have to appeal to the person who's developing the brand, the person whose company it is. There are egos involved sometimes if there is a big board or if there's a small megalomaniac who's running the company, whatever it is. So it is a very kind of detailed process. First step is always what we call a whiteboard. So we sent you a list of questions early on. That's just to kind of open the gates slightly and prime the conversation to go, okay, this is where your head is at. We then take those notes and then develop what we call a brand workshop. So we sit down and actually talk and pressure test either the answers and then introduce and throw a few more questions at you. We also then start looking at your competitors' analysis as well.
I didn't understand what you guys did as a studio for a long time. I don't think, I don't
understand as well.
We get that a lot, to be honest.
Well, I don't know what design studios do. Like, do you do fonts and colors? I mean, essentially, that's the window looking in. That's the sticker I would expect on your window. So learning about the behind the scenes of what a design studio does for rebrand is so important because I didn't recognize it. And to be honest, I thought I was creative enough to do it myself.
Yeah.
But then the funny thing is, you guys are creatives. You could do a podcast by yourself, but you hired a company, me, to create that podcast for you. And little moments like that in learning about business is that why I needed to recognize that I don't have to be the creative in every industry and my brain isn't best. For podcasts, I've got a ton of experience and interviews and audio formats and all of that stuff. But I don't have experience on how to connect my brand with an audience, but I probably thought I did at the start.
Talk to us about From Your Pocket inception. How did you come up with the name From Your Pocket?
Yeah, it's funny. I had no idea. From Your Pocket is, and one thing that I really want to get from a brand is, I don't mind that it's words. I don't mind that it is something. It's not necessarily, podcast creation platform or some name that makes more sense for the business. But the reason that I said From Your Pocket was we were making social content, we're making YouTube content, we're making podcasts, and we're making transcripts. So we're not just a podcast company. And so then I was like, everything that we are making is available from your phone, which is in your pocket. And then a majority of listening audiences listen to podcasts with their phone in their pocket. So my voice is coming from your pocket. But then once again, I know, and I'm very aware, I've never done that messaging across. I've never pushed that message onto anyone. I've never explained it or tried to explain it. So certainly something that I want to get across is that From Your Pocket is your phone, and most people listen to podcasts in their phone. They watch our YouTube, they watch our socials, everything is available from this, which is most of the time in your pocket.
Is that something that you are very attached to, or is that something that, in the beginning you were saying that?
No, I'm not attached to it. No. If you wanted to rebrand this business, I would be open to it. Yeah, I said that. And Studio White Noise have run with it on the next episode of Session in Progress.
Through comments, through feedback. So what does your current audience think and feel about your From Your Pocket brand?
Not a lot. And this is, but here's a bit of vulnerability for you. Oh, and by the way, we mentioned it quickly, but we have created a podcast with Studio White Noise. It's over 6 months in the making. It's on YouTube, everywhere you get your podcasts, including here. And their social videos are hilarious. The links are in the show notes below this. I'm super proud of what we've created together. And while you're there, watch this episode on our meeting. Like you'll see that meeting back in January. It's on our LinkedIn page where nobody's following us. This is a business podcast. I thought LinkedIn would be a good place for it. I was wrong. You can also follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram. It's in the show notes. Thanks for getting to the end.